Hi, everybody.
I'm just really excited to talk about the Titanic.
I'm always
So many,
excited to talk
so
about the
many thoughts.
Titanic.
Yeah. But my biggest thought, like, at the end of everything was like, why did they go down there? Everyone's like freezing to death and screaming and like falling. And I'm like, yeah, this just like doesn't appeal to me as a tourist destination. But
That's a good takeaway.
yeah, but
Those people were stupid
they're
and
stupid and
they
never
paid the
thought. They
price.
sure did. It was rich audacity that got it sank in the first place. Like I was watching, and the guy is like getting that telegram about the ice, and he's like, "Oh, ice, whatever, speed up."
Well, I guess the first thing I'm going to say is that, when we did our Harry Potter discussion
Uh-huh.
and you were saying that you were curious if watching those movies again after going so long without seeing them, you would have
Uh-huh.
like that nostalgic, like, oh, I still like this.
Right.
And you were like, no, no, we did not.
You were like, we were
But
like, no, actually, no.
yeah. But with Titanic, because I watched it for the first time in like a really long time last summer,
Uh-huh.
and I felt that way about this. Like, I'm like, this is still pretty good.
Yeah.
I I know some people star disagree, but I think it's good. Like it's 3 hours and 15
It
minutes,
is long.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't usually feel like it's that long because I feel like the pacing's pretty good.
Yeah. I
There are like
agree.
movies that are shorter that feel like fucking 10 times long.
Like the live action Aladdin, which was
Yeah, exactly.
that felt like it would never end. I did not remember a lot of this movie. I remember like him winning his tickets playing poker or anything like that. And I'm like, I don't remember this Italian guy. Like what happens to this guy? When your best friend in like middle school gets a boyfriend and you like never see her again. It was like that. Like how annoying that we're on this cruise together and you just like ditched me for some girl you just met, but that's fine.
James Cameron, he shot so much fucking footage for this movie. Like
Uh-huh.
pretty much everybody had a subplot. Like the Italian
Oh.
friend had like a subplot that got like cut.
Aw. Do you know what it was?
It was like a whole little like separate romance with that little like girl that he was dancing with.
Oh. Her nude photo being at the bottom of the ocean and them still finding it. We've got boobs, guys. Like this might not be a total waste yet. Like that made me laugh so hard. They're like, yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
find anything. There's nothing to hold on. Boobs.
Boops.
Get the investors on the phone.
Like I said, I can't blame Rose because, if I was a million years old, like
Yeah.
I told you, and then my picture got found, I would be like, hell yeah, that was me. I was fucking hot back
I
then.
know.
Although I have to fucking say, how stupid is her granddaughter? Because right before that,
Uh-huh.
the granddaughter's helping her put up those pictures that they show at the end.
I
And it's clearly the same fucking person.
I know. I was like, I saw when I saw all those pictures of her, and there's one where she's in like almost the exact same pose, and it's from like the same time. I'm like, how do you not know that that's her? She's like, who is that girl, Grandma? It's me. I wished that there was more of Rose's mom feeling like shit. Like,
Yeah.
what a failure you are that your kid literally was like, I would rather die on this boat than survive with you.
Yeah, I think Rose's mom might be one of the worst movie, like, characters
Seriously.
ever.
I would
Like, at
agree
least
with
most
that.
hated.
I would agree with that. Like when she started crying about like, "Oh my God, you want me to have to get a job?"
Do you want to see me working as a seamstress?
I was like, "Oh my God, I hate this woman so much. Like I hate her so much."
Just
You
marry this guy you don't wanna
I
marry, so I
know.
don't have to work.
When she was like, "Oh gosh, like when I was getting on the Titanic, like it was a slave ship to me." I was like, "Oh my God, like it's literally the nicest ship in the world." Like I
Yeah.
understand like she was gonna have to marry some horrible man, and like her life really did suck. Like I felt for her,
Yeah.
but I was like, maybe choose your words a little better. Like you're already so old, so like you strike one, you know?
I do want to point out that in the flashback scenes, Rose's hair kind of like evolved
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
because like it starts out and it's like super like tight and like there's nothing like hanging down. And then
Yeah.
after she meets Jack, there's like a few strands hanging
Mhm.
down. And then it's just I'm just gonna wear it half up or that's what people called it when I was a kid anyway, when like
That's what we
you only
called
like have
it.
okay. I was
Yeah,
gonna say I
half
don't
up.
know. It's just a me thing. And then she's just like after they have sex, she's like, fuck it, I'm just leaving it down. I don't even
She's a wild woman now.
as Jack taught her, I guess, to be more free.
Yeah.
She was like her hair evolved.
I loved when he was like teaching her how to spit. Like she was I was so frustrated with her sometimes cuz she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I want to like do all these things." And then he'd be like, "Okay, like I'll teach you how to spit." And she's like, "Oh my god, no. Like I can't spit." But then she does and it's fine. But I was like, "Do you want to or not? Like dang, commit." This is skipping around a bit, but another thought that I had that I didn't get to text you was like after Rose decides like I want to be with Jack and she goes and finds him and she's like I changed my mind and then he like shushes her.
They said you might be up here.
Literally shushes her. Like if it were me, I would have been like, "Cool, I'm leaving." Like don't fucking shush me when I just got here and I came here for you. Like how rude. I sent you that TikTok where someone was like, "Oh, like Jack is such a manic pixie girl in this movie." But they're
Yeah.
both kind of manic pixie girls. Like, of course they would meet like that. Like, I'm gonna jump. And then he's like, no, you won't. And then she just is like, I'll do it. Like, I'm not like other girls. Like, I'll jump off this boat. I don't care.
Even if she is kind of a manic pixie dream girl, I still love Rose.
Oh, I love her
Star
too.
Star disagrees, but I fucking love her.
I mean, she has her moments, but overall, she's pretty sensible.
Especially compared to like other movies around that time, I think she's like a pretty good like example of like female empowerment. Like
Totally. Like, I loved how much she took charge of the situation. She's like, we're going to my room and you're going to draw me fully naked. And then he's like sweating and scared. And then she's like, cool. Okay, now we're going in this car and we're put your hands on me, Jack.
Put your hands on me, Jack.
And he's like, and then she saves him because he knows the ship is sinking and he doesn't even
yep.
try to escape his handcuffs until water is literally in the room. I'm like, you understand that whether or not there's water in the room with you, you're sinking. Like there needs to be
Yeah.
more of a sense of urgency here. He's just like, "Oh my god, water." And that's when he and then she had to get an axe and save him.
After watching Mr. Robot
Uh-huh.
and Tyrell like fucking breaking his hand against the
Yeah.
handcuffs,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm grateful that Jack was too dumb to think
Same.
you're a guy. Well, he was like we're chicks, so we might have been able to
That's
be
true.
saved. But
Yeah.
he's a dude, so it's like you're not getting one of them lifeboats anyway.
Exactly. Oh my god, I couldn't believe I was like, why is this the moment where being a woman is a good thing? Like it kind of still sucks because it's like you want to put me on a lifeboat with a bunch of babies? I don't want to hang out with a bunch of children. Can't my husband come?
There are two times when Rose really makes some wise decisions,
Ah,
in my opinion.
okay.
That you know she is a smart woman.
She is a smart woman.
And the first one is when they're at that lunch
Mhm.
and they bring them the fucking little like bowls with melon balls. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a big scene and I'm just gonna storm off because
Yep.
I'm not eating that.
I am not eating that.
But also I have to say when Jack convinces her to get on that shit or the little lifeboat,
Uh-huh.
and then she's like looking around and there's like fucking just crying kids.
Yep. Yep.
And then she's like, you know what? No. I'll
Exactly.
take my chances on this sinking ship.
She's like, fuck this.
Star will also disagree with this, but I think it's probably the perfect date movie. Because,
Yeah.
like, you can have the romance for the girls if that's what they're into, and if the
Mhm.
guy's into, like, action, there's that for them. But speaking of Mr. Andrews, I have
Uh-huh.
to say that, Victor Garber, who's the guy that plays him,
Uh-huh.
watching the Titanic made me realize, like, he's gotta be a good actor. Because before I saw him in Titanic, I saw him in The First Wives Club,
I love that
which
movie.
which I have not seen since I was like in school, so I might feel differently now, but I fucking hated it.
Yeah. I don't even remember him in that movie. Was he one of the husbands?
Yeah, he was Goldie Hawn's
Okay. Well,
ex-husband.
I
He was
hated all the husbands, obviously. But I remember him always from Legally Blonde, and I hate him
Oh
in that
fuck.
too.
I forgot he was in
Yeah, and he's such a horrible person. Like, he's such a dick. I love him in this movie. I think he's adorable. When he
Yeah.
was like, "I'm sorry I couldn't build you a stronger ship," I was like, "You should be sorry, but also you're, it's okay. You're adorable." How long will Audacity sink rich people? Like, he's like, "Oh yeah, I
Forever.
wanted more lifeboat." Yeah, forever. He's like, "I wanted more lifeboats, but everyone thought they'd be ugly, so they just didn't." And I'm just thinking about like the Titan submersible, and they're like, yeah, if we put more buttons in here, it'll look bad. So like one button. It's just like, when will we? Not we. It's not my problem, but when will they learn? When will they stop doing this?
We just saw the Titanic earlier today when we watched this movie.
We did. And you know what? It looked better because that was like 30 years ago or something. I don't believe in ghosts or anything, but if someone were to say, like, name a place that's haunted, I would be like, the fucking Titanic. Like, that
Yeah.
shit is bad vibe. This is so unrelated, but the guy who was drinking the whiskey and survived, like, I was so excited to see him.
See that would be me.
Exactly.
Like, you combine him with Molly Brown, and then
Yes.
you have us.
Jack and Rose are like at the very top, and they're staring down, and you're watching people just like suffer and scream and lose their grip and fall in really like awful ways, and then they start to spin, which was kind of funny but also really sad. And then you look over and there's Whiskey Guy, and he's just like, that would totally be you and me, just like, oh my god, like shit is really bad. Pass me the truly.
This might make me a horrible person, but like when that guy hits the fucking propeller,
Oh,
I laugh so fucking hard.
he didn't fall, he jumped. So like that's embarrassing for him that the propeller is right there, dude. Like, you had the whole other, like, you could have walked 50 feet that way and jumped. Cal was awesome. Like, he saw that crying baby, and he was like, ugh. But then he was like, hold on, I can make use of this.
Speaking of Cal, I have to point out how fucking stupid his servant is. He's like, Cal's like, you know what? It really sucks about Rose, but you know what? I'm gonna get on this boat. Like, I just gave this guy a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Joke's on him because he's gonna die.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna get on a boat and everything's gonna be Gucci.
Yeah.
But then his fucking servant is like, oh, I saw Rose and Jack on the other side of the ship.
Why did he
And then
do
Cal's like,
that?
okay, let's fucking go. Then he's all like frustrated, like, oh my god, I don't know why we're going. It's like, you should have just let him get on the shit or
I know.
lifeboat.
And then
Then,
you could have gotten on probably.
yeah, and it's like, you can't be frustrated because you were fucking stupid.
I thought that guy was so cringe too, because it's like, you understand that Cal doesn't like you any better. Like, you're nothing to
Yeah.
him. Why are you like trying so hard? Like, he's like, oh, I'll watch him when Jack is locked up. And it's like, the ship is sinking. You know it's sinking, and you're still like being a dick to him for what? Oh my gosh, when Jack was like, "Do you want to go to a real party?" It made me like so proud to be like almost poor. I was like, at least we know how to drink. Like, God, I didn't actually really get what changed Rose's mind about Jack. It's like she saw the. Oh, I guess I do get it. Like she saw that little girl like having to live like a Barbie doll and like do her napkin and be all like dainty. And she was like, fuck that. And I was like, yes, fuck that. Very empowering move of her. And also, it's like, it's so bold to say fuck it to your mom and your fiance when you're on a cruise ship because you literally cannot go anywhere. If the ship hadn't sank, that would have been a really awkward.
Where was she sleeping that night?
Exactly. That's what I was
In
trying to
Jack's
figure out.
tiny ass bed with like 4 other dudes.
Mhm.
I also have to point out that when Rose is on the door and Jack's like sitting there telling her like you can't give up because this and this.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things is you're gonna have lots of babies.
Oh,
If I were her, I would be like, you can get the fuck off this door and
right.
just fucking freeze to death right
Find
now.
somewhere else. Like, what? Imagine having a baby in that time.
Or that little like Irish lady that's having to like put her kids to sleep and
Uh-huh.
like you're gonna fucking die and you have to like be
You have
cool.
to do that. I know. You have to like play it cool for these kids.
It
Oh my
just could not be
gosh.
me.
I did skip through those parts a little bit because I was like, I don't care about these sad people. There was like the old couple in bed. I was like, whatever. I liked the band too because they're like, let's just keep playing. Like, this is what we like to do. Let's just do that instead of running around like trying to push all the women out of the way and get on a boat.
And like kudos to them
Mm-hmm.
to be like, we work on this ship, so like we're definitely fucking going to die,
Right.
but we're gonna play music so the other people feel.
I know.
Music to drown, boy. Now I know I'm in first class.
Why did they even bother waking up the third class people and being like, put on your life
I
vests and
know.
then fucking lock them down there?
I didn't get that.
Like, just fucking don't tell them if that's what you're gonna do.
Mr. Andrews said that he saw a boat go down with only like 12 people on it, and I guess that
Yeah.
was because they're trying to keep the classes separate. So, like, if you're not even going to put them on the boat, like, why pretend you care in the first place?
They were saying that White Star tried saying that they did not lock those like gates.
Well, of course they would say that.
But when they like went down there and looked at the shipwreck,
Uh-huh.
those gates were indeed closed. And then they're like,
Whoa.
oh, well, that just happened when it went underwater. And it's like the way those fucking gates look, like, I don't think that's how that works.
And then I saw too that there were like Chinese workers who survived and got to America, but then New York was like, we don't want Chinese people and sent them away. I'm like, what a shitty month they had. Like, oh my God. And then the thing I was reading was like, no one knows what happened to them after that. And it's just like, that sucks. I'm sure they
Yeah.
had some interesting shit to say.
That's why China doesn't like us.
Yeah, that reasoning, that and that alone. I felt very seen by the one drunk guy at that party who like fell over and like broke a table and then got up and like gestured for his drink. I was like, that guy gets it. That guy is here for a good time. I thought Rose was gonna arm wrestle that person instead of standing on her tippy toes.
I mean, that would have been cool too.
Yeah, I mean the tippy toes was impressive, but in fact it was more impressive because I don't see how she could have beaten that guy at arm wrestling, but I still expected it. And then stupid old manservant came in and was like, "Oh my God, that girl's having fun. Like I have to tell on her." That is so not
Girls are
allowed.
not allowed to have fun in
Mm-mm.
1912.
Not
It's
on my watch. Yeah, it's like James Cameron is one of the few directors that actually like care to hear what they think.
he did like a 25th anniversary thing where he was like trying to like debunk myths
Ooh.
about the movie. They were trying to figure out like one of the things was if they could have gotten more lifeboats out
Oh
if they
yeah.
had more lifeboats and I think decided that they could have maybe got like 1 or 2 more out, so it wasn't really. It probably wouldn't have helped that much anyway.
That's interesting because I was reading about the survivors again, and one of them was like, "Oh, if there had been enough lifeboats, nobody would have died." And I was like, "I don't think that's true because there were so many people, and they only
Yeah.
had like 2 hours. Like, I don't know. Like, if there's anything I've learned being an adult, it's that like getting a group of people to do anything takes like 6 hours before some of them die. That's just not
Well,
happening.
especially since after it gets to a certain like point when it's sinking, I think the ship's at too weird of an angle. They can't
Right.
like get any more boats out. So,
Right.
and then another thing he was trying to prove was like if the Titanic broke the way that it does in the movie, which is like you already made the movie, what's it matter?
Right.
Are you gonna remake the whole movie just to fix
Oh
it?
my God, can you imagine like they re-release I could actually see them doing that at this point. Like we re-release the Titanic with it breaking more historically accurate or whatever.
And then the last one was he was trying to figure out because this has been a huge fucking debate for like 20 some years
Mhm.
is if Jack and Rose both could have fit on the door. I've never really understood the debate anyway because I'm like, it's a movie, they're fictional people, like,
I
who fucking
know.
cares?
I was actually thinking about that when I was watching it. Like, Jack's off the edge, she's spread out. And I remembered
Yeah.
like years ago seeing like the Mythbusters do a thing about like, okay, let's bust this myth and see if they both could have been on the boat. And I'm like, it doesn't it doesn't you don't bust a myth. It's like only a myth. Like it's a fictional story. Like what do you gain? It's like, oh, this
Yeah.
fictional guy could have lived and then this fictional story would have ended differently. Like, I mean, that just
Yeah.
speaks to what an impact and how great this movie is, that a bunch of like grown men whose whole job it is to like bust myths or like, oh my God, surely Jack could have lived. Like, aw. I
And
don't.
I remember seeing a interview with Kiki Palmer,
Oh, love her.
and I don't remember why, but somehow they started talking about the Titanic,
That's so
and she
random.
was like, I'm never gonna forgive Kate Winslet because
What?
because I think that Jack could have lived,
It's
and
not.
she let my guy die.
It's
And
not
blah,
her
blah, blah.
fault.
And I'm just like, oh my god.
People are heated.
I love Titanic, but I cannot care
Like, first of
that Jack
all,
died.
he is supposed to die. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have sank anyway. But the thing of it is, like, there's so many movies where the woman's whole role is to develop the man's character, and then as soon as the character is developed, she dies. And it's like that event triggers the man to get to the next stage where he's like his best self because that woman died for him. And in this
Yeah.
movie, that's Jack. Jack is the character who is only there to make her better and then dies. Oh, where are you?
Cat just turned off my
Oh my
camera.
God. Cat's like, I wanted Jack to live. Yeah, it just wouldn't be the same
Yeah.
if Jack lived. Would they have stayed together really? Probably not. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
Just
Because that's like
wonder.
the big thing is like she only knew him like 2 days before he died.
Yeah. Didn't have time to like have a fight or like
Yeah.
hear him chewing or like any of the things that might annoy you. And like maybe him sleeping under a bridge sounds really fun and cute and like quirky, but
Well,
when
you're doing
you have
it
to
too.
sleep under a bridge with him and he just doesn't care, like when you're like, let's just like find a hotel, and he's like, I lost all of our money in a poker game, lol. Like, let's just sleep under this bridge tonight. It's no big deal. Like, I'm different. I don't like planning things. Would have been like,
Yeah.
I'm a free spirit, Rose.
And where exactly do you live, Mr. Dawson?
Well, right now my address is the RMS Titanic. After that, I'm on God's good humor.
You can't pin me down. Like, have you seen Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I have.
his dad.
Every week, we should come back to this Applebee's and sit at this table and have a family meal.
It's a great idea, Mama.
Things were going good, weren't they? Well, that's exactly why I had to blow it up.
And I love his dad. I also feel that way.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to sleep under a bridge.
You have to give her credit that after Jack dies and she's on the Carpathia,
Uh-huh.
and then Cal comes down to like the third class area and he's looking for her. I have to give
Yeah.
her props for not being like, you know what, I don't want to be homeless. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go.
I was really impressed by that too. Like I fully thought, because I don't know how I don't remember this movie. Michael swears that I've seen it. Like I I didn't remember that at all. She like tensed, and I thought that I thought she was bracing herself to like yell at him and be like, "I'm over here." Oh my God. Like, but she
Yeah.
didn't. She was hiding. And I thought that was pretty badass because, like, he's rich, and, like, even though he's an asshole, he is obsessed, and he's like, I'll give you everything if you just, like, have sex with me sometimes or whatever. So, it, like, after enduring that whole tragedy and being depressed that, like, your boyfriend froze to death while you were asleep, I could totally see just being like, fuck it, I'll just at least be rich. But she was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna be Rose Dawson and just figure it all out. In 1912, to just
Yeah.
be a random woman in America in 1912, like, oh, my goodness. Once a real bestie has been decided on, like, honor dictates that we have to stick with it. That's not a quality you want in your president, is flippy floppiness.
Exactly.
We don't follow the trends. We create the trends. Like, we're
not like other girls.
Exactly. We win our tickets to the Titanic in poker games, okay? Like, we are different.
And
Ugh.
we don't like caviar.
Oh, I've never had caviar, but it looks disgusting, and I also would not have eaten it.
How do you take caviar, sir?
No caviar for me, thanks. Never did like it much.
And I was glad he didn't eat it, because I feel like a lot of people would have felt like, oh, I have to try this to make sure, like, I fit in.
I know. I assume that was supposed to be like a little like inside joke between him and Rose, because in a deleted scene when like they're talking in that whole little thing like before that dinner,
Uh-huh.
and he's like talking about like what he thinks about her. It's like, and you love caviar or whatever, and she's like, I hate caviar. Blah blah blah, and like and I assuming that whole scene was probably there to be like, I'm not like
Oh,
other girls, like you're just assuming things about
right.
me.
Rose is like cackling and throwing like $1 billion diamonds into the ocean. Right after that guy was like, I've spent the last 3 years of my life trying to find this shit. And her granddaughter's just like, oh man, that sucks. I'm sorry. And then she's just over there like, heh. That's amazing.
Yeah.
God, I love her. I love that she knew that whole time. Like, I have what you're looking for, and I don't give a fuck. And I'm fully gonna throw it into the ocean as soon as I'm done with this story.
But I am gonna play dumb, and I'm gonna be like, oh, did you happen to find that necklace?
Did you
It's like,
find it?
just so you'll pay to
Yeah,
have me float out here so I can tell you my life story.
I know. Like, she's a genius.
I do like that ending because I know there's like an alternate ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't like that one as much.
What
Although
is
I
it?
do,
Uh-huh.
it's basically the same like thing. Like she's gonna throw it, but then that guy like finds her.
Oh no.
And then
Caught
they're like,
red-handed.
and then they're having like a little argument about it.
Uh-huh.
And I think she might give it to him and then he throws it in. But
That's dumb.
yeah, but like I kind of like the little story that she has where she's talking about how when she first got there, like to America, and she's like poor and basically
Yeah.
fucking homeless, and she's like, I wanted to sell this fucking thing for money so goddamn times,
Yeah.
but I didn't because then Cal would have been supporting me, and I didn't fucking want that.
Yeah,
So-
like that's so badass. It cuz it makes it more about her. Like the whole movie is about like her and her decisions and her doing what's best for her. And so her deciding like, "You know what? I have finally gotten the closure that I wanted. I don't need this anymore." And she throws it over and it's just all about her. It's not about the guy looking for it. It's not about Cal and his family
yeah,
getting it back. It's not about like anything except her being like, fuck this shit, which is awesome. How many movies
yeah.
can say that with like their female lead? Like almost none, really.
And then she dies.
And then she dies. How annoying! She is. She is so maniacal. I didn't even get. I'm sure they were like, okay, you know what? We couldn't find the necklace, but she's here. She's a survivor. Maybe we can interview her. We can write this down. We can get that and make money that way. And then she's like, you know what? No, I'm gonna die.
Right above the Titanic, so my soul's gonna go there with all the other people. It's gonna be a great time for me. I don't care about you guys.
I'm just gonna have the time of my life down there. And it's
Yeah.
like one thing I can say about Cal is he never lost his sense of humor. Like throughout that whole sinking, he was cracking jokes. He was being classist. She's like, half of these people are gonna die, and he's like, not the good half. Like,
I guess he just really takes after his dad, Freddie. Billy Zane, who played Cal, his sister in real life, played Freddie's daughter and Freddie's dad.
oh my god, it all comes together. He would have definitely been on the Titanic making jokes and pulling pranks and trying to shoot people as it's sinking. Like that is so that is so him.
And when he's giving her that necklace, he's just so like doofy about
I know.
it.
He's like, I know you've been so depressed. I can't imagine why. Like, I don't pretend to understand why. And it's like, it's so obvious she hates you. And he's like, but I wanna like I wanna like make you feel better. And you're like, okay, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna apologize? And he's like, here's this gigantic diamond. And then he mansplains French to her. He's like, yeah, they call it le coeur de la mer or whatever. And she's like, I know what that means. You don't have to translate it for me. Like, I know what it means. I loved
Yeah.
how she made fun of it when the guy was like, yeah, we're trying to find this. Like, when she's old. And she's like, oh, that stupid, ugly thing. It was so heavy and dumb.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I have to say that anybody who says that Kate Winslet is fat in this movie
Oh my
needs to go get
god.
their fucking eyes checked.
Did people say that? Oh my god, people are ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I am gonna point out, and I'm assuming because of like James Cameron's personality, he almost had to have done this on purpose.
Mhm.
But if supposedly if you add up the like runtime of all the like flashback scenes, like all the scenes that take place in 1912,
Uh-huh.
it equals out to the same amount of time that it took the Titanic to
I
sink.
actually thought that because they were talking in the movie about how long the boat took to sink, and I'm like, that's about as long as this movie. Do we have any final thoughts about this incredible movie?
I'm just gonna say that it holds up, and I think if you're somebody that hasn't seen it since you were a kid, or maybe you've never seen it because you hear people say like, "Oh, this movie sucks,"
Mm.
just don't listen to Star and go watch it anyway.
I like how it started out as like some people say that, and then it's like, don't listen to Star.
Like, it's not the world's greatest movie, no, but it's it's entertaining. It's got a great female lead, like Kate
Yeah.
Winslet's great in it. So I just think everybody should watch it.
And I agree, it is a perfect date movie. Like,
Yeah.
something for everyone, and it's easy to just like put on and chill to, and then you can get into it
Yeah.
if you want to. There's sexy moments. It's great.
Just has a little bit for everyone. Like you can watch it pretty much in any mood that you're
Yeah.
I remember in the commentary, I haven't watched the commentary since I was in high school, but I remember Kate Winslet said that Leonardo DiCaprio was a really big baby about the water scene.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.